Okie dokie. Here we go. It's always this like slight delay when we're doing the live stream. So it's like, I know everyone's looking at us going like, say something. You're just like staring off into space. But here we are, Madelaine and Amalia, ready to talk the moon, the planets, the energy of the cosmos with our cosmic chat for today, which is the full moon in Aries. And what's so cool is while we are chatting, the moon soon after our chat will be fully full.
I think it's even in aspect right now. I mean, it's within the 3-degree orb range, I would think, possibly.
It is. Yeah, I would think so, because it's 4:55 is the time that it is at its what is the term for that? I'm drawing a blank. At its peak.
It's at exactitude degree. The exact is at 4:45 when it's like at the same degree exact of the sun, which is 1645. I've been studying that because that's an angular. This is an angular full moon, and in the mid-range degree, really kind of sheds a wide fan, as it were, across the house. So,
powerful. Yeah. That's interesting.
I had that mid-range point, which is aspecting the other mid-range planets that are at mid-range, which is Uranus, the nodes, Saturn, and this full moon. And Venus is even kind of, well, Venus is at 9 or 10 degrees, but we're really going into this middle decan here, which is really interesting times.
Wow.
We're going to talk about it.
If anyone is out there watching and they're lost with what Madelaine said, don't worry. We're going to be talking. We're going to be
explain.
We'll be talking in more simplistic terms so that you understand what the heck is going on. And most importantly, and why you're here, is to find out how it's going to affect you. What does this mean for you? So with this Aries energy, we've got fire, obviously. And then we have the moon in Aries, we have the sun in Libra. Libra is air, harmony, balance. We talked about that in our last cosmic chat for the new moon. And now we're in this initiating energy of Aries. It's ruled by Mars. So there can be aggression. One thing I've been noticing energetically speaking is you might find that you are finding frustrations within your relationships. There could be arguments that will pop up. And my guidance would be, when you notice that is happening, to recognize the energy is revealing something to you in order to bring harmony and balance into the relationship. So maybe it's a situation where you haven't spoken up, like something has been irritating the daylights out of you, and it kind of comes to a head. Be aware of the explosion of energy, be able to express yourself firmly, passionately, but maybe take the edge off of the communication as a way to soften it a little bit, to be able to have a harmonious and balanced conversation about whatever is going on. Now, that said, sometimes the explosion needs to occur. It's like the destruction in order to rebuild. That's also a possibility. So kind of feel into yourself and your relationship and see what is showing up for you, what's going on in your world. What would you like to share, Madelaine, about this Aries energy?
Yeah, well, so Jupiter is, it's so funny because I was out last night walking back from this fair that I worked at, and I saw the moon. It was not quite full, almost full, with Jupiter right there on its right side. Because, Jupiter is right there with the moon right now. And it was just a really powerful feeling, But we do have Mars squaring Neptune right now. So that's a bit of a volatile situation in the macro world as well as the micro. But at the same time, Neptune is sextiling Pluto, which is being trined by Mercury. So I find it to be a positive angle on it all. And my experience has been, because I've had Mars trining my Saturn, which is a nice thing. Mars squaring Neptune, you're going to get into spiritual, and it's in Gemini. So you're getting into these spiritual debates and arguments about beliefs. And it can be fanaticism and aggro and frustration. And even with the news right now, the threat of war and all this sort of verbiage going on because Mars, in my opinion, this is my own personal opinion about this, is that Mars being in the sign of Gemini, squaring Neptune, is really sort of saying that this isn't really that big of a deal, or it's not that it's not a big deal, but it's like, it's verbal threats. It's not, because Gemini is a mutable energy and it changes all the time. And it's always, it sort of says things, and in Mars, it might spurt out threats and stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily take them. Maybe it's better to be on the side of caution, but it feels to me like in general, these confrontations that Mars and Neptune are bringing create some sort of because it sextiles Neptune, which is, Neptune is sextiling Pluto, which is trine by Mercury. So some sort of a breakthrough or opening occurs. So it's almost like these arguments really open up to wider viewpoints and are working this time, rather than causing as much friction as people think. Because in my experience, because I can see it around, I can see people getting into heated debates and really stepping into it. But what's really weird is I keep seeing people saying, wow, we kind of actually see it the same way. We're just using different rhetoric, or we're seeing it from a different angle, but we're really saying the same thing. So it's like I was talking astrology with like Jesus, religious, very Christian people at a party, and I thought, but they were really open to what I had to say. They found it really interesting. So it was really surprising, so there's this fascination with the spiritual topic, and there's a seeking of, because Mars is in Gemini, is a seeking, an energy of information and knowledge. So it's like people are eager to learn more about the cosmos and the mystos and the unseen forces, because the material world at this point, which is what we're going to talk about here in the Aries energy, is in a bit of a sham state, or an upside down chaotic state, where people kind of don't really know what the heck is going on. Is there a crisis or not? Is it, because Neptune is foggy confusion, Gemini information, Mars action, taking action, going for it. Now with Jupiter ruled by Mars right now, this full moon ruled by Mars right now, because it's in Aries, you're getting, shall we say, a reigniting energy into your Jupiterian cause, because Jupiter is really in on this. Now, don't forget, we've got Chiron in on this. It's conjuncting Chiron, the moon. So your issues, your insecurities, your fears, your inward woundedness that has prevented you from stepping forward and being the bold leader that Aries wants you to be. Because everybody right now, we're evolving into, because of this Uranus square Saturn, we're evolving into an awareness that we have the power to have our own independent lives. We had that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Most people that I read for are starting to really step out for themselves and do their own calling. That's Saturn, career, Jupiter calling together. Your calling is your career. And I'm seeing people feeling very confident and finding abundance that way, which is what I think is going to happen here in this financial shifting that's going on, which we'll talk about. So
let me pause you for 1 second,
yes,
Madelaine.
yes, please.
Kind of bring a few of the points
Drinking
that you just
coffee.
made.
Yeah.
A few of the points that you just made home. And so, I feel like you're saying, and what I'm hearing you say, energetically speaking, is that there's a lot of energy out there that might be a lot of bark and no bite.
Yes,
however,
that's my opinion. I hope I'm right.
Yeah, that barking, though, is actually giving information to folks to make decisions based on that, which is potentially pivoting them where they really need to go. So
yeah,
that's a potentiality that you're
yes.
describing.
Yes. And I think that I love this lunation, because even though it's squaring every one of my planets, I can't even believe it. And then we've got these eclipses coming up, and I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, I love the Mercury trining Pluto, sextiling Neptune. It's magical. That is such, I'm seeing, because I did all these reads yesterday, and a lot of people's charts were getting triggered by this. And it's just magical, because I really see what's happening, in my opinion, from what I can from experiencing from my reads and looking at the charts, is that we've got a lot of squares going on, which are shutting old ways and old life down. An old timeline is being shut and forced shut, whether you like it or not. That's why I'm telling people right now, with these energies right now, just write it out. Be aware, be inner aware of what's unfolding, because the universe is sending you a certain direction, and I don't know how much choice you have in it. to be honest. It's like I've had all my plans completely thwarted and I've been redirected, and I'm very happy. I'm excited about the redirect, but that's what's happening with these eclipses. So it's almost better to not make any major decisions right now. And the other thing with the Mars squaring Neptune, it's like you want to avoid major statements and major opinions and what you believe, because like we're really getting confused about our beliefs. It's like, what do I really believe? Like, is that really something to believe? Like, what is that a belief, or is that like fact? Or is that like, wait a minute, am I saying something that's my opinion, or is it, so we're all just like, whoa, what is real for me and in my spiritual understanding of the cosmos, or what's happening in my life in the world. So
that's so supportive of going into eclipse season, because if going into eclipse season, which can be challenging because you're really
100%.
unearthing and uncovering these hidden places, is that the more that we understand about our inner world and we really start looking at our beliefs and our thoughts, that just makes eclipse season easier. So if we think about it in terms of the flowing of a story, that's really supportive. And so maybe it would be a way we can play some mind games with ourselves and reframe what might be going on that feels a bit activating within us energetically or emotionally, to say, okay, I'm clearing things out of the way. So in the next moon cycle, it'll be a little bit easier. It won't feel quite as challenging.
Yes, if you do the inner work on each moon cycle, especially in eclipse season, because this is something that we could get into right now, is talk about karma, because these eclipses are very rooted in karma. We are doing very deep karma clearing, because we're starting a new chapter, a new whole cycle in this Jupiter, with Jupiter in Aries near Chiron. I mean, this is nutsos. It's like, whoa. Because Chiron is in Aries, Jupiter is in Aries, this full moon is there. I mean, the moon is there. So it's like we're really initiating a new chapter, a new cycle. A Jupiterian cycle is a 12-year cycle where we are now in our courageous, we're going to initiate, because the nodes are going to move into Aries soon. And so we're going to be ready. We're going to be confident. We're going to take issues. The people are really stepping into their power. So this new moon, which means, and I don't mean aggressive power, I think this is a softer energy. Gemini, to me, is not a super aggressive energy. Gemini tends to be a little argumentative, but really for the sake of intellectual progress. So I don't find that energy to be so hard. But we're really at a place now with that Gemini Mars where we're learning something, we're educating, we're finding more research about what we believe. Why do I believe this? Digging in, finding facts, and stepping forward into a new vision or a new idea of what you do believe, or what, and it's going to be more open-minded, because people's minds are definitely opening up, because there's no way you can have a rigid thinking mind right now with the amount of clashing information and opinions and political divide and all this stuff. It's like, whoa, it's like sometimes you hear someone, you're like, what side is that argument on? You can't even tell. It's totally confused, right? So the best way to use this Mars energy, because remember, this Aries rules Mars rules Aries. So there's a very strong connection. So it's really initiating a new information, new projects, new communication ideas around something that expands the earth and makes the world better for everybody. And I think people are breaking through limiting belief systems that stopped you from doing it. Like, for instance, just for fun, let's say you were an extreme vaxxer. Now you might suddenly decide you're a non-vaxxer, or you might get flipping in belief systems. And I'm actually seeing that quite strongly around people who are very strong on the pharmaceutical stuff, are really starting to see not to go that route so much with all the side effects. So it's like there's a real watering down of these rigid sort of, and I think that's supposed to happen. I think Neptune squaring Mars, it's like, whoa, you don't really know, you don't really understand. And it's okay to not understand, because whenever Neptune's involved, it's a clearing out of what you thought. It's cleaning the slate. So you don't know. It's okay to not know right now, not have an answer. I had somebody ask me yesterday, so who created the energy that moves astrology? And I said, I really don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, how could you possibly answer that question?
This was a guy who's very, very Christian. And it was a really interesting conversation. And then I said, well, I think it's God. And I would say that it was everlasting. It's always been, and then they say that it's eternal. So anyway, so we ended up agreeing. So anyway, it's an interesting time where people's minds are opening up. It's great, but if you're headed the wrong way with these eclipses, doors are going to be slamming. If you have not cleared karma in certain areas, if you haven't learned those lessons, because we had the eclipse season earlier, very karmic, which involving Saturn. We've got this eclipse coming up in November 8th, squaring Saturn on Uranus. If you've got stuff there that you haven't fixed or dealt with in your psyche, which would be somehow karmically addictive attachment to fear-based security, it'll be rattled out of your fingers like
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's Scorpio, isn't it?
Yep. Well, we have at the end of this month on the 25th, we have this new moon 2-degree Scorpio. And then on November 8th, we have the opposite angle there in Taurus, at 15, 16 degrees, which is exact conjoining Uranus squaring Saturn. So that's a very pivotal point,
Wow.
I know. Wait, is that a full moon? I didn't bring my notes.
In November, it's a full moon.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. So it's an
eclipse.
And
you said that's at 15 degrees?
15 degrees Taurus.
Holy smokes,
I know, that's a crazy one. That's going to square the Saturn Uranus. It's going to trigger that whole thing.
My ascendant is at 14 degrees.
I know. That's what you expect a whole thing. Your whole life's changing. Everybody's lives are going to things are really shifting. When I draw these charts, I can see it because I draw my charts now. I can see square, 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 trine. No more this way, all this way. Boom, boom, boom. Go this way, go this way, go this way.
Well, and just so everybody knows, simple. The sign for a trine is a triangle. So it's almost like if you turn the triangle, it's like
an arrow.
Yeah. It's pointing in a direction. So, and actually, I forgot to grab
We can share
something.
the screen. Should I share the screen? Or
sure, I'm going to have you share the screen. And I wanted to grab a card from that I pulled earlier for today. Hang on one sec. Let me give Madelaine the power over here to share so she can talk to us about the...
See, whenever you have something happening at that exact point of the full moon, it really it's a 30-day cycle tone. So for 30 days, we're going to have Mercury trining Pluto. Woo! I like it because that's on my Venus. So it's going to be particularly good for me. Okay. So there, can everybody see? Can you see this, Amalia?
I can see it. Yes. I'm assuming everyone else can. I'm going to just go grab that card while you talk about it.
Yeah. So there we have the Uranus squaring Saturn. And then here we have the Mars squaring Neptune. There you have the sextile from Neptune to Pluto. And there you have the Mercury trining Pluto. We do have an opposition, but that comes in all lunations, full moon lunations. We have the opposition going on. And this is Aries Libra opposition. And I haven't really spoken enough about that right now because that is very powerful. We're going to go through the 12 houses on how that is going to affect individual people, but it is a balancing full moon. It is going to reveal your lack of balances in relationships, which will indicate what's not fair, what's not equal. And you're going to find you have the impetus to make that change. So you're going to feel the emboldened, and Chiron is there, which means the reason you haven't been doing it is it's based in wounding. So if you've been giving too much in your relationships, it's because you have an insecurity that your relationship is not stable, and maybe the relationship is not stable and this relationship will come to an end, or the relationship is stable, you just have insecurities, they trigger, you're supposed to try to grow through those and not put the triggering on them. It's more of an existing energy field in your psyche that needs to be purged and cleared. So if you are out of balance in your relationship, there's a good chance it's based in wounding. If you're too selfish and you're escaping the relationship, you're running away from the relationship, again, that is based in wounding too, because you don't want to turn into the relationship because then you have to feel your feelings. And then that puts you in touch with your root wounding, which is where the wounding stems from. So with that Mercury trining Pluto is often our deep soul issues and deep karma in a way that we bring into this life, which is where we're supposed to get better about, what we're supposed to improve upon, is going to bless you with the power and the strength to take that wounding on and communicate, because that Mercury communicating and healing the wounding. So this is a powerful, beautiful full moon. It's going to, if you have wounding that needs to be healed and communicated in your relationships, that's going to come up for better or worse. It may break your relationship. You may end the relationship because you both agree that this will never be worked out, whatever the issue is. I did have somebody I'm doing a reading for is leaving a relationship because, yes, very much this kind of energy, because the other person was so involved in their work. She loved him, but he wasn't going to compromise that. So they agreed to move on. And that's fair. You know, if there's an imbalance, that it might become clear that this isn't the right thing. Or it's the right thing. You have too much expectations, and you got to learn to be more, deal with your wounding. This moon is coming in, and deal with the fact that space in the relationship triggers your abandonment issues, and that this is your issue, and that you're going to keep working on it, or something like that. So, and you can communicate what they do that triggers it. So they become aware, not that they need to change it, but that they're aware that you have a trigger spot.
I love how you describe that in terms of a relationship. For anyone who's listening, who might find themselves in a situation where they've discovered or have been aware of an imbalance for quite some time that they haven't known what to do with, or kept placing the blame on their partner, to be able to recognize now where the origination point is within themselves, and find a way to communicate that, not in the sense of, you have to do this in order for me to feel okay. It's more, I would like for you to be aware, this is how I'm feeling. Maybe offer me a little, have some patience and compassion as I work through this. And it also feels like with the eclipses coming, there is a potential for some really deep healing that can take place if you're willing to look at these places.
Yes, it's beautiful, really. You know, I think if you do get triggered in a relationship situation, or any kind of a crisis shows up for you in this full moon point, it's to dig down and do some deep work and clear this. Aries is fearless energy. I'm telling you, this moon is trying to get you to stop being so afraid and knock it off in a way. It's kind of like Aries is fearless, and Chiron is right there saying, okay, chicken, you know, get over this. It's time to get over this little insecurity that isn't really good for you. It's like, you know, and Aries is such a great energy, and it's exalted. The sun is exalted. Well, the sun is not exalted. The sun in Libra is not exalted. Venus is exalted right next to it. But it's definitely an energy of like the moon is your emotional world. Your Chiron is right there, and its sun is like, boom, shining light on that insecurity issue, so that you can't hide it anymore. You can't hide behind the insecurities as an excuse or as a little hiding spot. It's like, nope, we're cleaning this out because it's time to go. This is go energy. We've got Saturn going in direct at the end of the month. Oh, we have Pluto stationing direct today and yesterday. That I could feel that energy. Oh my gosh, I like it. And that is another thing I forgot to mention. So Pluto is stationing direct. So that's like, things were halted so that we could deal with some deep internal things that needed to be healed. Karma clearing right here in these eclipses. We're now clearing the barriers that were stopping us from being the Chiron, the wounding. In other words, the wounding isn't going to hold us back anymore. Our insecurities can't hold us back anymore. The universe needs us to take this new earth forward, the new direction forward. And we can't let the past insecurities and trauma hold us back, because they're not alive anymore. Those traumas are gone. So it's like, it's time to let. Aries is so in the head. They like, don't waste their time with emotional, you know what I mean? Like the Aries energy, don't sit around and fuss with their emotions. You know, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. I'm a moon person. I believe in that very much, but we're talking about this red energies. It's go now, clean up your emotions and let's go.
So one thing that was coming through for me today as I was preparing for our cosmic chat, and actually, do you mind the stop share on the screen? So I wanted to show this card really quick, Madelaine. Thank you. Is I'm using this deck, the Sacred Creators Oracle deck by Chris Ann. It's a really cool deck. And today, there are 4 elemental cards in the deck. Actually, she might have all 5. I'm not sure, but
what'd you pull?
today was creator,
Creator.
fire.
Nice. Oh, interesting.
So I thought that was
Yeah.
quite interesting when it comes to the energy of this full moon being fire, being Aries.
Yeah.
And one of the aspects of this that I wanted to just touch on based on that card and the message that was coming through, and you were talking about the kind of the lack of emotions with Aries. And I would say that's there, they may not have the softer side of the emotions, but I think anger might be the forward facing one if anyone was to be. And so can we channel that energy for anyone, regardless if you're Aries or anything else, and use a flame for a candle, for instance, as a focal point of meditation, of centering, of being able to go in. And if there's, and imagine the candle, the flame of the candle as any anger that's there and how it moves and it dances around, and shift that to thinking about it or feeling into it as passion. Because if you're passionate about something, you are very initiatory towards doing it or moving towards it or taking action.
Right.
Anger can also move you, but can you shift that slightly? And there's nothing wrong with expressing anger. It's very healthy to be able to do that. I'm not saying to dismiss it.
Right.
But if for you, it's coming out in that way and that's not really moving you forward and doesn't feel like it's a positive thing in your world, shift it into a place of passion and let that fuel your creation, fuel the direction of where you go. And also moving your body and allowing that energy to move through you is also another highly recommended way to navigate whatever might be coming up right now in your world based on this fiery energy of the Aries full moon.
Yes. And the thing that's fun that you're talking about is that so you have the 3 fire signs. You have the Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. I'm sorry, Leo, Sagittarius. So the Aries is the initial flame.
Yeah.
And then it comes down and then it's that slow burn for Sagittarius. So we're looking at this. We're looking at a reignition. We're looking at what the house that you have Aries in is coming up into flames, like boom, something's going to happen. For me, it's in my 10th house. My career is going to go boom. Your 7th house, relationships, boom. It could either burn one out or start a new one. But we're literally putting that it's the first energy. It's the first energy of the cycle. So we're really looking at a reinitiate. Well, Jupiter's in retrograde. So we are reinitiating old things coming back from the past because Saturn is still in retrograde. Then we're giving it a new birth, a new ignition, relationships from the past, reignited. So that's why we're red today.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I would have thought about that. It could have been our little red fire sisters together. Yeah. With you being a Leo, a Sag, and
yes, a fire sign myself. Yeah, fire sign Sagittarius is the last fire. Those are your reluctant leaders. The Sagittarians come in and do the leading that the Aries didn't want to do and the Leo didn't want to do. So the Sagittarius are self-sacrificial ones that'll take on and burn out the rest of the stuff that didn't get. You know what I'm saying? All right, I've got to plug in my computer. I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Okay. All right. Well, so while we wait for Madelaine to get herself plugged in, I just want to share with everyone, if you are loving our Cosmic Chats, please do comment, chat with us. And then if you would like to follow along with the moon cycle, if you sign up for my bi-monthly love letters, I have a download for you and you can print this, or you can, if there's a digital format too. And as you can see in the center, I tell you what the I'm going the wrong way, what the sign is, what it stands for, what element it is. We go back and we look at the last new moon, we look at the last full moon, and then the current moon. And what's great about this is that when you fill in over here, what your intention and focus was on the last new moon, there's a since then portion where you can see what has changed since then. So if your intention for the new moon in Libra was to be a lot more open in your conversations and relationships to bring more harmony and balance in, and then since then, you might have practiced that, and you could say, opening up my heart and being more open in conversation has brought such a sense of love and renewed connection with my partner and myself. So you actually can see on the page how it's all unfolding. And it's really, really cool to be able to go back and look, especially when Madelaine and I are going to be talking about the eclipses. Well, that directly relates to the last, 6 months ago. And to be able to look back 6 months ago and see what was going on in your life at that time and how much has changed is an incredibly powerful practice. So,
oh my God, that was a biggie.
Yeah. So if anyone's interested, you can either send me a message or go to my website and you can sign up for the love letters. And I don't spam you. It's just keeping you on track and supporting in any way that I can. So, all right, Madelaine, would you like to start us off with Aries and let's dance
Aries.
down this road?
Yes, you guys have this all in your first house. You guys are on fire. You guys are ignited and inspired and excited about beginning a new thing. You've got Jupiter in your first house. You're feeling like confident. Jupiter in your house makes you feel confident. You can overdo things. Be careful, Aries. You might overdo something, hurt yourself, get too energized, too excited. So watch out. And then with Jupiter on your ascendant, you gain weight. So if you're worried about that, just, or moon, actually, Jupiter on your moon makes you gain the most weight. But anyway, but this Aries full moon, you're going to initiate a new beginning. You're going to be inspired and excited to take some sort of brand new initiation in your life, and possibly most likely in relationships, because you've got the sun in your 7th house. So lighting up the relationship, you have Jupiter in retrograde. It's the Aries and Libra axis is going to be a very similar reading for both of them. They both are realizing true relationships, and they have Capricorn in their 10th house of career, Pluto stationing direct. So it's like they're overcoming some deep egoistic fears or karma around career and about their image or who they are, and sort of career shifting to something that's more in line with their true soul rather than sort of appearances, as it were. But something going forward very well for them now. And with Libra in your 7th house, your relationship house is lit up. You're going to have Venus there, and you're going to have Mercury there. So we're really looking at a lot of energy around signing business contracts, agreements, maybe contracted relationships, marriages, commitment. With Jupiter in retrograde, it is something that's right for your soul, that's more in alignment than maybe you did 6 months ago. It's most likely something 6 months ago is coming to a head and kaboomba. But that you were karma clearing around. It was a still fear-based thing that you had to work through, karma thing. But now with this eclipse season coming up, the next lunations are not in the Aries Libra houses. We're going to be out of that. We're going to go to Scorpio, Taurus, and then Sagittarius, Gemini. So this is kind of like the end of this issue coming up. This is a definitely end of a cycle for Aries, and we're entering a new chapter in relationships for Aries that are more soul aligned with career, but it's soul. It's going to sustain. It's not based on your ego, which is to make something look good, appear good, or create security.
So here's a question. So for those Aries that are, and I have someone, there's always somebody in mind when these questions come in, who is not there's no career shift for this person, and but they're having significant health issues. So could that also relate to if you are having, like, let's just say your career is not in the forefront for you in particular? Could it be a relationship with a doctor or a hospital, or how would you?
She's Aries ascendant, and you're saying there's no career.
This is an Aries sun.
An Aries sun. Well, you want to look at their ascendant mostly, because that's going to be the most powerful thing in their chart. But also you haven't seen it yet because Pluto's only just stationed direct. So it's not really going to start showing up for maybe a week or so, because it's very slow moving. It's actually really stationary right now. So don't expect to see those results right yet, but you will start to see something going forward. Now, health, you always want to look at your moon. You put the moon on the ascendant and see what's going on in the 6th house. That will show you. And that's a whole nother thing, which I love to talk about. But health and Pluto, yes, Pluto will show you, because health issues are stemmed in psychic disturbances, and Pluto is about psychic disturbances.
Yeah, and that's
and that may come up for healing. Oh yeah, this Chiron thing, I am glad you brought health up, because Chiron is also very much about health. So I have Chiron squaring my Mars right now, and I can tell my immunity is weak. I won't go paddleboarding right now because I don't want to catch a chill, and I think I'll get sick. I can tell. So it's like
Yeah.
Chiron will show you, and you know the reason why is because I'm not eating enough vegetables and stopping and eating enough food because I'm working a lot. So you got to take care of yourself. So
well, and I think you bring up a good point when you're talking about
Mhm.
Pluto and Chiron and health and bringing up these psychic issues and
Right.
inner emotional turmoil and trauma,
Mhm.
because there is such a misunderstanding oftentimes with things that show up in our physical body as to where they come from and how they're
Mhm.
treated. And
Right.
if I'm not saying we don't need treatment for the physical things, of
Oh,
course
yeah.
you do, but also in conjunction with that, as a
Mhm.
buddy, a partner,
Mhm.
is to look at the underlying emotional response to what's
Mhm.
happening and where the origination, the root of that from an emotional perspective
Mhm.
comes from. I do that a lot with my clients, looking at, I have a number of different reference books, and we look at the whole picture of them from a physical and an energetic standpoint
Mhm.
to understand why certain things are happening and then
Yep.
support them going forward. Because
If you have
just,
health, yep. If you have, oh, go ahead.
no, it's okay, Madelaine, go ahead.
If you have health on the right side body, it's masculine, negative masculine. You're operating in fear-based action energies. So you're taking actions that are based in adrenaline, anxiety, fear-based, a belief in lack of abundance arriving, or harm or no abundance. So that's stress energy. So you put that energy through your body, you're pinching because that energy is fear-based. So you're stopping the chi force flow through the right side of your body, and you're creating pain in your right side. If you have pain on your left side, you are observing negativity, or it's negative feminine, which is to observe feminine, and you're observing the negative. So you're observing negative of yourself or negative of another, and you will feel left side body. So yes, and whenever you have negative energy shooting through your body system, you're causing blockage of the chi force, life force. So that is the source of the solution, in my opinion. So so Aries, what is happening in Aries in their 6th house? They have Virgo in their 6th house, and we have some planets there. So yes, there might be issues coming up around health stuff coming up for Aries, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So good to have, some awareness of that going forward for any of you Aries out there, because you are completing something, for you guys, this is a new beginning in a way, but a completion has to happen first.
Yep.
So
you're going to come up, things are going to come up for awareness that there's where your growth is needed. And sometimes that's not fun to see, but it's good to see. All right.
It is good. All right. So Taurus.
So you guys, wow, I just have so much compassion for Taurus. They're going through so much with this Uranus in their 1st house, squaring Saturn. So you guys have Aries in your 12th house. This full moon may be hard for some Taurans because it really is about soul stuff. This 12th house is about going inward, and you're going to be becoming very aware of your deep issues because you've got Chiron there. So you're going to be you're going to come up with some real awareness to some of your deep issues in relationships. It might be painful, but you're going to see that you have some deep abandonment issues, because the 12th house would indicate sort of fear, past life trauma from possible separation in relationships. So that could very well be an issue that comes up very strong for Taurans, and they become very aware of their fear-based motives and some of their actions and their behavior in relationships. This is very soul. They're going to go very deep within themselves. This is an internal experience for them. And they're going to make some big shifts. When you have this 12th house, it's kind of come home to Jesus energy. It's a reckoning. It's like, dang, I need to change that. It's almost like you're going to feel ashamed of yourself, but then you just don't let yourself go there. It's not supposed to feel shame. That's the Jesus house. Jesus doesn't want anyone to feel shame. We're supposed to just forgive ourselves and others. So just course correct. That's all you got to do. Don't feel bad about yourselves. But there is going to be a shift in awareness of how you can initiate better in your relationships, because Aries is a selfish energy. So it's possible you need to be a little more selfish and stick up for yourself, or go forward, or because Taurans are very accommodating people. So they're Libra ruled, and the sun is in Libra ruling, and Venus is right by the sun. So there's a lot going on for Taurans here. I could talk to you guys all day about Taurus, but they are really ready to initiate clearing out and being done with some deep wounding baloney that's holding them back in life. And they're going to heal. They could get sick. You get sick, it's to show you you need to eat more vitamin C, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables, something like that. You need to take better care, or your trauma-based actions. You're going to see that these are trauma-based actions. You're going to change it through communication, because we've got this Gemini Mars, we've got this Mercury trining Pluto. So deep conversations to heal your depth of abandonment issues. This is deep.
Wow, I know it is deep, and I'm a Taurus moon, and I feel some of this has come up, but it doesn't feel heavy. And I have to say, I really feel like the reason it doesn't feel heavy is because I have really been paying attention and doing consistent inquiry, contemplation, and healing around a lot of the abandonment and rejection and shame and all those really fun ones.
Yeah. A party. Yahoo! But it feels like that afterwards, when you get over that whole hump of pain and you get over that deep knot of pain that you've been carrying around and hiding even from it yourself.
Yes.
Which is what the 12th house will do, is make you see it. So but it's good. So
yeah, it does. It definitely feels so. Just for any Taurus who are feeling the weight of that, it will ease up.
Find somebody to talk about it. Talk it out. Don't stay all alone. Although it is a very introverted, introspective, inter-exploratory energy, boldly, without taking no prisoners. Aries is no prisoners energy. We're going in there, we're getting in there, we're digging it out, and we're getting out of it. It's like, boom, it's out. It's action energy.
I feel like it's a partnership situation too, where you go in and you do the deep dive on your own, and you get to the little nuggets, and then you share it with someone you trust and you
that's
love,
a good point.
that can help you integrate it and to maybe understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, Aries card. I bought this fantastic deck. Goes cardinal fire, action, courage, adventure, leadership, independence, pioneering spirit. See, we're all getting the pioneering spirit. Okay.
Well, and I love that for Taurus, because Taurus is so security based. They like to have their everything just so, and they like to have their person, and they like to know that everything is all right. Yes.
Taurus says, I have fixed earth, validation, stability, purpose, endurance, tangible results, comforts of life. That's why I feel sorry for them, because these eclipses and this South Node in their first and seventh houses is going for Taurus. Anyway, so that is Taurus. Okay, so where are we now? I gotta get my little page back up. Where'd I go? I get excited by all this stuff and I lose myself in it and don't know where the heck happened to my chart. Okay, there it is. I pushed it all the way down. Okay. All right. So now where are we? We're Gemini. So you guys have Mars on your first house. So it's I'm curious about how Gemini are doing with Mars in their first house. They might be getting into confrontations and fights with people, but if you're aware and conscious of it, you know, so just chill, really. I mean, because Mars is an anxiety energy in Gemini, can be quite anxious. Nervousness. But on the positive side, you've got energy, you're feeling motivated to exercise and and you've got energy to initiate things. So it's a good time. It's a great thing to have.
Oh, Madelaine, you muted yourself.
Good. Thanks.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So you don't want to, you watch for frustration energy. And now you're going to have Libra in your fifth house, the sun, creative projects, illuminating friendships, creative projects, collaborative things, possibly a small business or shall we say, writing creative project with people, another person. Aries is in your 11th house, so you could meet something, could be really opening up for you in front of social media, in front of the public, in front of a stage. I do know somebody, Gemini, who is going to start, she's written a book, she's going to start speaking about it in front of big audiences. That's very 11th house. So opportunity opening up, having courage, having confidence to go out and talk in front of people and initiate some sort of a creative project that you take out. She actually did. It was a creative project she wrote and she drew pictures in it. So you're taking it out into the public. It's a very good chance you meet new people that will help to take you forward in this new cycle of Jupiter, this 12-year cycle. A new friendships coming in with Libra there in your fifth house. balancing out some friendships. You might actually solve some issues in friendships around, there might be some tension and stuff that you're going to clear out that you caused when Mars was in your sign. I'm kidding, but there might have been, but you might be clearing up some disagreements, things, balancing, because Libra, the sun is in Libra, showing us where we need to balance things, where we need to calm things down and create a better balance. So for Gemini, you're going to kind of come out of some of this tension and stresses maybe that have been involved with the Mars on your ascendant, but it's going to be good. You're going to balance it out, but there may be arguments stemming up that end relationships that discover that they're not good for you, and that you do want to go forward in a different way, in a different project with somebody else. This is not the right creative partner, because sometimes these disagreements show up to show you that they're not the right person. You don't see eye to eye. So
yeah, so Gemini, I think the key for Gemini is just to chill out.
Yeah, I would say for Gemini not to even get on social media. No, I'm kidding. That was true when we had a lot of planets in Gemini during COVID. Geminis were getting on in all kinds of arguments, and all the astrologers were telling Geminis, don't go on social media. It was funny. So, okay.
That is funny. All right, Cancer.
Woohoo, Cancer, you guys have Libra in your 4th house. So the sun is illuminating issues that are imbalanced about your living situation, most likely involving relationships. I am Cancer rising. I could say that is absolutely the case for me because I cannot get Wi-Fi in my place. So there's some things, and in my career, and then we have Aries in the full, in this 10th house of career, illuminating the problem, kind of thing, which is, I know it's interesting, but also, career, like I'm saying, this Aries energy is like lighting a match in that house. It's like full throttle, like boom, a lot of gasoline is in that house. There's a lot of engine energy in that house. Let's go. And inspiration, around your career. And I am feeling that about my career. And I am seeing that somehow, hopefully, this ignition in my career enables me to find contacts or ways in which I can find another place to live where I can get Wi-Fi. And the universe with these eclipses is very much in this mix, because I've been trying to think of ideas and all the doors are shutting. So that's what I'm telling everybody. Just wait and let the universe guide you here, because the doors are going to open the way that you're supposed to go during eclipses. It's already lined up. It's already happening. Don't fight it.
So we're going to request that the universe provide you a solution to the Wi-Fi issue before the weather gets cold and you can't be sitting outside and doing the lives like
because this is probably like the last warm day here.
I forget living here in Florida that it's getting cold places. Yeah, I know in Idaho, it's probably one of the places it gets cold.
I'm chilly. I'm a little chilly, actually. I should have worn a bit warmer, but it's nice, but it's a little chilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is for Cancer. They are going to be illuminating shifts and changes that they need to take to balance their living environment. Very good chance they become involved in a family situation. They move. Somebody moves in, somebody moves out. Now this is relationship harmony coming in. They have Pluto going direct in their 7th house of relationships. Most likely a relationship from the past is coming back. You did the clearing, the karmic clearing in this eclipse season that we all just left, and now we're entering the eclipse season again to kind of show the resolve of the work that you did or did not do. Hopefully I'm hoping I did the right work, but you don't know. You think you did, and then you get triggered again, and you're like, I thought I got over that.
Yes. Like, what the hell am I back here for?
I know.
Why?
Are you kidding me? I'm really still carrying this baloney around with me. But anyway, so then you get it out. It's going to purge. But this Pluto going direct, trining Mercury, I love that energy for Cancer in your 7th house. Beautiful for finances, businesses. I still think money's going to be okay. I feel like there's positivity here around that. A lot that's going on this month. So most likely, this is Aries Libra relationship is a relationship axis in your 10th and 4th. So we're seeing relationships, contracted personal relationships coming into fruition from projects from the past, coming in that become your career, that become very abundant career. Again, 10-year cycle or 12-year cycle. Jupiter in your 10th house is a cycle. So your career is taking a new beginning, initiation in your career that's going to last a good 12 years at least. Maybe longer because of the Saturn aspect.
Could this also be a career shift? So let's just say, because I'm actually thinking of my
like raise, promotion.
well, could it be the opposite where you have been focused on your career, but now you're going to focus more on family? So your career won't be highlighted.
I would say not, because of the Aries energy. Aries is a lot of energy. I think all the energy in everybody's life is going to go to that Aries house. I don't know, unless you're like a super person with lots of fire energy all over yourself and you can put fire in a bunch of different houses. I think the most energy is in the Aries house. So in my opinion, for Cancer rising, this is an excellent.
For Cancer rising, you would say this. So I was thinking of a Cancer sun. So for her, it might be a little bit different. Yeah. Energetically speaking. Than a rising.
There'll be some in your sun, it's secondary, but it's still, she'll see some shifts and upgrades in her career house. Yeah. And maybe you step into projects with people, your true mate. These are relationships. So you're taking on a signed contracted relationship with the sun in Libra, initiating a project with your career. That's another way this can play out.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Leo,
you guys are ruled by the sun. Leo is sun ruled, so you're gonna, and don't forget Cancer or moon ruled, and the moon in your 10th house in Aries. That's another very emphasizing energy. So they're ruled by that. That's their Lord ruler, the ruler first. So Leo, you guys are ruled by the sun. So whenever anything happens with the sun, multiply it by a good 50%, at least maybe 100%. So you are having this in your Leo, Libra is in your 3rd, and Aries is in your 9th. So possible travel.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to say 9th. I don't know why I said.
You might set, and also Aries is spontaneous. It's like boom, you might suddenly get up and leave and go travel. Right, suddenly everyone's like, where the heck did they go? It's like it was the Aries full moon. Everyone just like jumped out of their seats. If you know Aries, like they're like that. They just like suddenly you're talking to them and they just like jump out of their seat and they go running and you're like, where the heck are you going? And they go, and you're like, whatever, okay. I see them all. They all do that. It's funny.
That's hilarious.
So that is kind of the energy of this full moon. You suddenly jump and decide to go travel. You got this crazy idea to go do something. Jupiter's there, but also you might have a radical spiritual belief shift with Chiron there. And you might suddenly realize that some of your belief systems were based in wounding or fear-based. So you're going to have an awakening 9th house energy. You have a new belief system, and that opens you up for relationships. It shows you that you're probably a little too dogmatic in some way. You're a little too rigid, because shadow aspect 9th house is rigid belief thinking, like it's got to be this way or the highway. This is the way it is. I don't believe this. I believe that, that kind of energy. When we loosen that up, we're going like, well, it's a possibility. That's my experience, and you're lightening up on some of your your rigid beliefs. You're relaxing and then seeing, and you're opening up to sort of more spiritualism in a way. You're seeing a more watery approach to the cosmos. You're loosening up there, and then that's very possible that gives you a certain amount of self-esteem raising, that gives you the impetus to take that initiation with the sun in Libra around relationships. It's going to balance out your relationships, because I think a lot of Leos get into spiritual conflicts with people that impacts relationships, and it's based in some sort of insecurity or wounding, maybe about being wrong, not being right, or that you believe in something that's not real or wrong, something like that. So you're balancing out belief systems with your mate and with your relationships, and why these opinions or beliefs are causing friction in your relationships. And you're going to loosen up, and it's going to open up your relationships, because you're going to realize it's insecurity based, because you don't want to be wrong. You don't want your rigid belief to be wrong. So you're going to fight it. Well, now their Leo's going, hey, maybe I'm wrong. That's fine. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what we think. See, the whole point of all of this is to explore what is possible and true and better. What opens up life for us. It's not about what's right and wrong and what you believe in. And we're going to open out of that, because that causes too much division amongst us. Exactly. Really, what we're looking for is answers and solutions, and a way to open life up that's better for all. That's the Jupiter thing. It's expansive. So we're really looking at expanding our mentality and our belief system, and seeing that galvanizes us together. Even if you have a different belief and a different opinion, it doesn't really matter what you believe. What matters is, what are we learning? Where are we going? What's all of this meaning? And
What is all this about?
Yeah, and have your own spiritual belief. I have a spiritual belief based on my experience, but you don't have to make it, I don't have to get an argument about it because other people may not have experienced that. So we're opening up around all of that.
Well, I think that's also a really great point to bring up, is that, I was actually just talking to a friend about this yesterday, about truth and about what truth is
the
for
ninth
each
house
of us.
is all about the truth. Actually, it's interesting you bring that up.
Yeah, well, I mean, this, I have Leo sun, and so it's that sense of, my truth may not be your truth, but that doesn't make each of us wrong.
Right.
It is based on our experience and the energy that we came into this life to experience. And the
whole belief thing is something that we're going to wake up to, because it's not, it doesn't matter what anyone believes. It's like, I get people sometimes say, I don't believe that. I'm like, okay, it's like, I don't want to be rude and say, who cares? But honestly, the universe doesn't care what you believe. What matters is, what are you aligning with consciously? What is your consciousness? What are you aware of consciously? What is your consciousness? And are you expanding and growing in consciousness? And part of that is to release belief, rigid beliefs.
And I think it feels harder, but it's actually easier to just go more with the flow and
be open to other opinions and rhetorics, and find something in it that is true for you, that resonates, that is a resonant, helpful piece of information.
Yes.
Okay. Exactly. So that was a little lecture about spiritualism, I guess. Yeah. On my little pedestal, whatever.
I loved your description about what people say, I don't believe that. You're like, okay. I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't care.
I know people come up to me for card reads, say, I don't really believe in this bullshit. I'm like, all right, well, then why are you coming for a read? That's fine. I mean, I really don't mind. I mean, I'll tell you what the cards say. You don't have to believe it, but it's like, I just
hilarious.
I don't care. But if you want a reading, I'll give you. Yeah.
For a reading and they say they don't believe it. I
know it's happened. At parties, this girl came up. She was really drunk. She goes, I don't believe in this bullshit. I don't believe in this. And I said, okay, well, she goes, but all right. And I said, well, some people find it true. She goes, all right, test me. And I said, you're in a relationship that really does need to end. It's no good. It's you gotta end this deal. And she just starts crying. She's like, which card says that? Which card? I said, well, let's see, that one and that one. And she goes, it's true. It's true. And she literally just gets up and walks off. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, that was that. So I don't know if she ever believes in it or not, but anyway.
Well, she got a message from the universe.
Well, she seemed to agree with what the card said. So as painful as it was, but it's good. It's good to end that darn relationship. It's not good for you. So
absolutely. Okay. So Virgo.
Okay. So
what's happening with those folks?
Yeah, Virgo. You guys have Libra in your second house. Nice. You got the sun in your second house. Finances opening up, creative projects that earn you money, new initiatives, new bold initiations with. So you're going to have Aries in your 10th. Sorry, Virgo. Aries. Where's Aries in your 8th house? Other people's finances. You could get into a contracted situation with other people's money, bold initiation to raise money or you could have a inheritance. If you have a negative aspect there, somebody could pass in your life, but most likely you already know, and it's time and it's the right thing. Hopefully it's not a hard thing. And you could get an inheritance. Sometimes those two things come together. I've seen it happen. And a lot of times a full moon in your 8th house, you can either clear a debt, an opportunity comes in that you either have an opportunity to get funding or money, you refinance your property. It's outside sources, or you get into a relationship with your spouse. You come into shared resources, you share your resources, and you initiate a project that then expands your money income or enables you to take your own natural resources and expand upon them, because the second house. And then you're going to see how you've been out of balance in these projects. All divine partnerships are coming in. Most divine partnerships are created so that you come into union to create a mission together, a project. So you're going to see what you've been doing out of balance in your relationships that made the project not viable or not work. Because most likely with Libra over your second house, you're out of balance trying to make that relationship work. Virgos tend to do that. They tend to do it's kind of a Capricorn energy where you work a little too hard from an insecure base. Virgo, you've got Aries. Where's that Aries in your 8th house? Insecurities. Also, this is a very sexually based energy. It's the psyche. So some deep insecurities around your sexuality coming up, around about your how sexual you are. This impacts your finances. This is deep, low self-esteem that impacts your abundance. This is going to get cleared. You're going to see it and you're going to delete it. Do ho'oponopono, by the way. Anything that comes up, karma, you release it. You thank you for the lesson. I release this lesson from my life. I've learned the lesson. I no longer need this lesson. You say, bye-bye lesson. Thank you.
And for anyone who doesn't know the Ho'oponopono prayer, it's I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
no,
you
probably know it. No, you probably know the right way.
It's I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
Any version of those 4 statements that feel good to you.
Yeah.
That's and Ho'oponopono prayer.
And this could be a painful lunation for Virgo because the 8th house hurts like crap. I mean, that's deep triggering stuff, especially if you have a planet there, it's getting triggered. So it could hurt, but it's good because you're going to lose that low self-esteem issue is going to come up. And that's stopping you from being as abundant and self-resourcing. You're going to raise your vibrations. You're going to be much more balanced in your approaches to finances and earning your own income and have better self-esteem, which is going to raise your vibrations, which is going to attract you a lot more abundance, which is what's going on.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So we are at Libra. Wowie, Maui, Libra, you guys. I mean, wow, Libras. You guys are ending relationships like crazy or really shaking up your current relationship in a way that is much more balanced and much better and much more in alignment with your soul. You've got Jupiter on your descendant in your 7th house in retrograde, taking you to what is, because most Libras would have, this is 6 months ago because Jupiter was on their descendant before, then it went into forward and then it went into retrograde. So it's going back to that same point. And so whatever happened back then is now rectified, is coming into its knowledge of how it was the wrong choice. There's a wrong choice here, going back and redoing. And it's going to show you how you've been, because Aries, Chiron, and that is in your 7th house where you're very selfish. Sorry, Aries. I mean, Libra, I don't mean to, but it's weird that Libra have Aries over there. It's like you would think that Libra rising are not very selfish people because they're not. They tend to really sacrifice themselves for the relationship, but they've got Aries over their 7th house, which just means that they need to initiate, they need to put effort into it. They need to, but not in shadow aspect would be destructive to the relationship and sort of being in sexually based type relationships. But with Jupiter in retrograde, re-evaluating your inner relationship harmonic truth state, like who's the right person, what's the right, it's got to be the right thing for your soul. Then we've got this full moon there illuminating actions that need to be taken in order to unite with somebody that is right for you, that is right with your soul, facing some deep issues. You've got Chiron there, most likely around, one of your planets there. And you have Aries planets. Most Libras have cardinals, Aries planets, I find. So you're probably getting wounding coming up, your fear issues. Why are you a player if you're a player? Why are you running around? Libras tend to jump around relationships quite a bit. They love connections. They want that connection. So what's that wounding, that fear that's deep down, that insecurity, that's causing you to initiate relationships that aren't necessarily right for you, that are more karmic based. And it's going to be based in low self-esteem, and you're going to see what that is. It's based in Aries energy, which is there is something about me that fear-based Aries wounding is going to be, I have to hide the fact that I'm not as fantastic and amazing as I seem, because Aries is an exalted sun. They shine in front of, they're very, very charismatic, but underneath there's a lot of, they're not for all Aries, but for some wounding, some Aries, there's some deep underneath insecurity woundings that they're masking in this bravado.
And there's so much fear, I feel it's coming through. There's so much fear around being found out about
and being vulnerable. Yes. Yeah. So the Aries energy over your 7th is that deep fear of letting a true person in and allowing that vulnerability. Now that's going to come up. Yeah, it's going to be tender, raw, very raw energy, this full moon for Aries and Libra. My heart is with you all. It's good, all good for us. This is medicine that we don't like, but it's good for us.
Yes.
All right. Scorpio, you guys have an eclipse at the end of this month. October 25th, 2 degrees Scorpio. So relationship, then when you've got that eclipse in November 8th.
Yeah. Whew.
I hope it's not too hard, but it's radical because it's going to be conjoining Uranus, squaring Saturn exact. So this is a radical shift in changes for the sign of Scorpio. So let go, Scorpio, just relax. And you've got this energy in your Aries 6th house, which is taking bold initiations in projects or working. Libra in your 12th, country or rural or sun, out of balance, soul depth. So Chiron, you might get sick. This is the one sign that could really they feel more illness because they've got Aries in their, Scorpio have in their 6th house. Wait. Scorpio, where are you? Aries in their 6th. So they might be, because they have Chiron there. So they might become very aware of some deep healing that needs to be done, to take initiative to do some very deep inner work and healing work. But also this is good for your own work and changing day-to-day routines, but also a day-to-day healing practice that they are now going to initiate into their lives that heals this low density issue that's causing illness in their life. They might be, because they've got the South Node in their sign, they have to let go of something toxic that isn't good for them, that isn't good for their work. So they're sort of like taking initiation to heal some sort of deep wounding that causes them to be out of alignment in their health and in their work and their day-to-day life. So they're going to take a lot of initiation in that area. Now you're ruled by Mars. Scorpio, you've got Mars in your 8th house. So deep work going on. Wow. Deep work going on for Scorpio, because these are heavy eclipses for you guys. If I was Scorpio, I would really get my chart read right now, very much so, and have really some deep looks at what's coming up, karma clearing. Because when you get ahead of the karmic transits that are coming up, you can really subvert the intensity of it. I do that. I had some really major squares coming up on my MC, and I knew that meant the government was going to give me an issue with a piece of property that I had and a permit, which I hadn't applied for because I was just experimenting. So I just went ahead of the game and applied for it. And then when people would say, "Hey, did you permit for this?" I was like, "Yes, I did." So it was like, I knew it was coming. So
that's so cool, Madelaine.
I know.
What a great example.
Yep. Worked out for me great. Because the city called me and said, "You're supposed to have a permit for this." And I said, "I have applied for one." And I knew exactly the name of the woman. And he was like, "Oh, well, that's no problem at all. No worries." And it was all fine. So you can some of these rough transits coming in, you get ahead of them, you can subvert, you can see it. So anyway, for Scorpio, ruled by Mars and Pluto going direct, things are going forward though for you guys in a good way, but you got to do some inner work. You got to do some soul healing, some trauma healing. More Scorpios come in with past life trauma, mostly around murdering. Most Scorpio is rooted in violent past life, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. In other words,
would it be
trauma from violence, murder?
They were the victim or the perpetrator? Either way.
Yeah. And the karma that we're clearing, oftentimes, if you were a perpetrator, you may have had to do it to survive. You may have had, that's why coming out of Kali Yuga, when a lot of the karma that we're clearing was based in surviving. So like, for instance, if someone comes into your house and tries to kill you and you shoot them, that's not creating bad karma. You're creating bad karma if you don't protect yourself and you don't take care of yourself. But let's say somebody comes in and they're not threatening you, but you're just really afraid and you kill them. That would create bad karma. That person will come back and you're going to scare them and they're going to kill you or something like that. So the whole point of clearing karma is you shoot out a lot of forgiveness energy. The Ho'oponopono, you forgive, you turn the other cheek, so you break. That's what Jesus was doing when he said turn the other cheek. It wasn't just to be so passive that you don't stick up for yourself. It was to be that you break the chain of karma and that you stop that cycle. So for Scorpio, there's some deep trauma cycle clearing of your psyche. So this is big though, because it makes you more abundant. Scorpio is the energy of transformation, death, and rebirth, and often can be the indicator of financial abundance, like millionaires, like it's a big money energy. So it's like when you purge that lower density fear, you become more in faith driven, you become more trusting in the universe, and you stop the karma building. that is triggered still from that trauma. You're still living out that trauma because it's gone. You are repeating this nightmare for yourself. So stepping out of that cycle is what Scorpio got to try to do here.
Well, let me add to that also, and being a Scorpio ascendant myself, I totally relate to everything that you're saying.
Interesting.
And for anyone out there who has Scorpio in their chart in any way, shape, or form, I can tell you that I've been doing some biodynamic breath work. So it's breath work along with movement and being very aware of the energy that's moving throughout your body. And in doing that work, I have located traumas that were trapped in my physical body. And the reason I know that is because you'll feel it. For me, I will sweat profusely. I will feel this sense of like, I just feel like I need to come back into myself, like nurture myself, like just kind of, okay, you're safe. And I feel like for anyone who has a Scorpio placement, that know that there are ways that you can move that energy through. And when you do that, I have noticed since I've been doing this breath work in particular, but I think there's a lot of different ways you can do this, is that I have been a lot more clear on what I need to do in my day-to-day life in order to move me forward, and to not, I'm looking at my notes that I took that what you were talking about with this energy. There has been a lot of deep healing that's taken place that's allowed me the compassion for myself to take steps that would normally be really challenging for me to do.
Right.
And so, and I feel like that is
more
the path to abundance.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Great. That's fantastic. Perfect example of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Venus in my 8th house, so I have trauma based in money, relationships, past life. I kind of know a lot of my past life trauma. So this is the time to be working through all of these deep fears that rattle us to shaking type fears, like that rattle.
Yes.
All right. All right. So now we are moving on to Sagittarius, right? We're ready for Sagittarius?
Yes.
So you guys have that in your 5th house. Fantastic. New relationship going forward, initiation a new friendship, creative project with somebody. Aries is over your 5th house. You could get pregnant. Watch out. Who's the other sign that has to worry? If you anything 5th house, guys, watch out. These eclipses, you can get pregnant. But for Sagittarius, you could have a child. Something could really exciting happen to your child, like a new thing happens in their life. Creative projects. You could start an entrepreneurial business. You feel very bolden and ready to initiate. You get very inspired and excited. Now, a lot of these Aries energies can sometimes fire down, like can kind of burn out. You kind of lose interest. So watch out to align with the right thing to initiate. But a creative project coming in is fun for a lot of Sagittarius. Good for finances. A hobby that was something that was a hobby now becomes more of a career thing. And with Libra in your 11th house, you could very well resolve some unbalanced situations with friends groups. You could meet some new people, that sun lighting up your tribe. You could find a right tribe. You could be out in public more right now in front of a stage, initiating a creative project. You meet a friends group and you make a friendship through that group when you then initiate a creative project. But it is very bold, inspired energy in the house of fire, of creation, having children, projects, entrepreneurial businesses. It's very creative. It's fun. It's jovial. But with Libra over your 11th, you're going to find imbalances and friendships that were out of balance, that aren't right. So you might end certain relationships. Aries is an ending energy as well. Mars is an ending energy, causes separation. So you may end friendships and realign with a better group of people that are right for you. So that is Sagittarius. And then we're going to go to Capricorn with Aries in your 4th house. So this is flip Capricorn, Cancer. So you're going to have Aries is in your 4th house. I'm sorry, Capricorn is in your 4th house. Cancer is in your 10th house. So
Cancer's in your 10th house?
Yeah,
you mean
Cancer's Aries. I'm sorry, who are we talking about now?
Capricorn, 4th house in Aries.
I'm sorry.
So Aries is in the 4th house.
Capricorn have, yes.
Aries in the
sorry.
fourth.
Aries
Aries
is
in the fourth, Libra in the 10th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Neptune squaring Pluto on my Venus. All right. Okay. So for Capricorn, Aries is over their fourth, right?
Yep. Aries is over the fourth.
Moving. I do know a Capricorn who's moving, taking bold initiations, taking that risk, stepping out there, doing it, going for it, taking that move, getting the motivation, the impetus to pack up and move. And this one Capricorn I know who is very kind of like sedentary and doesn't like to move ever, is finally getting up and taking the initiative and changing their living situation and going forward and breaking through the wounding, the insecurities, the fears that are stopping them from changing their living situation. And
Nice.
yep, Capricorn. So, yep, Aries is in their fourth. So then that puts Libra in their 10th. So, which then is going to balance something out for your career. It's going to be the right move. It's going to change some kind of a balancing situation out in your work. And that is actually true in his case, because he's going to do better in his work over there too, where he's moving to. So it's going to balance out your career with a living situation. You may be stuck in a living situation that isn't good for your career. There's a balancing out between living situation and career. Same with Cancer, right? Over 4th and 10th. Career, living situation, reshuffling, balancing. More balanced and involving relationships. Most likely this will align you with harmonic relationships. This is going to be a balancing out involving relationships as well. You may end a relationship and move out so that you can work on maybe the relationship is so traumatic that's stopping you from being able to focus on your work. So you got to move out, find another place to live. You can focus on your career more. Or maybe a new relationship comes in that you now move and you take on a project together and change your career, and your whole life shifts in career and moving. You take on a project with this person. So there's various options there.
So also with Capricorns, like, let's just say there's no potential of moving. That's just not something that's in the cards. It could also be a shift in how they're living in their home. So it could be, how would you interpret that?
With Capricorn, with Aries over their first house, something big and bold is shifting and changing and reinitiating a new beginning in their 4th house. Either someone's moving in, they're building an addition, maybe they are moving in together, they're selling a property and not buying something else and moving. Something will be bold and big and change. Aries energy is big, bold, and new. You're going to notice a change in that house. I would see that. You will be able to say, yep, that's when this shifted in my living situation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if it isn't showing up yet, the eclipse seasons are coming. This is all part of it. Yeah. And this full moon is going to play out in 2 weeks too. So see what changes in the next couple of weeks.
Right. So maybe right now there's.
And don't forget, Aries energy is was it the Gandanta and the Ashwini? That's in Vedic. So Gandanta is the end of the emotional climax, the big resolve, the big emotional ending. And then we get the reignite, the Ashwini, that rebirth, that boom energy. And so it comes out of nowhere. So something out of the blue could be.
Just be aware, I guess.
Yep. Now, Aquarians, you have Libra in your 9th and you have Aries over your 3rd. So short distance travel, new initiate. You could buy a new car. You could initiate new beginnings in relationships that are business. Maybe an argument shows up with a neighbor, close business people that are around you on a day-to-day that around your siblings. You could get in an argument. Then you can see an unbalanced situation with a sibling relationship that you then can clear. You can see where you've been unbalanced, most likely involving rigid belief systems because it's activating your 9th house. Aquarius, yep. So you've got some rigid opinions that you may have been out of balance with. So your relationships need to come into better balance around beliefs, what you say, communication issues coming up. Communicating bold and confidently, maybe you're out of balance there. Maybe you need to kind of step back your communication and listen more. Out of balance situations in relationships around communication. And maybe you need to speak up more. Maybe you become more bold and you speak up and you do express yourself and your opinions more. And you do come forward with a belief that you believe that is worthy. And maybe you've been repressing your own opinion. Libras do that. They sometimes don't even say their beliefs or opinions because they don't want to create the argument and the upset. They don't want to upset the connection. Maybe Libras feel confident now to say, you know, I have got a kind of an opinion based on some experiences that I would like to start talking about that are real and true for me, that are my viewpoints. So maybe they become more, Aquarians are becoming more, a little bit more forward with their opinions. And that would be good for them. That would be a balance for them. Yeah.
Expressing themselves more, which is really great.
Yes, opening up,
because Aquarians have these grand ideas.
They're very open-minded.
Yeah.
So, and they are leading us into the new earth. The Aquarians are new earth leaders. They're very visionary. They're the future. They are here to raise our vibrations and help us visualize this new planet. We're initiating a new earth, basically. So the Aquarians are going to show us how to do that. So
sweet.
Sorry, Aquarians, not to land a lot on your shoulders, but that's the deal. Anyway,
they can handle it. They knew what they were getting.
That's true. They can. So Pisces, which is my moon, is going to bring Aries in your second house. Fantastic. And Libra in your eighth. So a balancing out of a financial situation between karma, other people's resources, and your own resources, a balancing out of a situation. And that is actually happening to me. So that makes sense. But giving you more impetus and get up and go in your finance house, you are now really fired up in a way that you can earn your own resources. So you feel very motivated, very driven, and very connected to what it is that does work for you in increasing your source of income. Now you may quit. You may, because Aries energy is done, can be quit, you may quit a job and then you may have to go into debt, or you can end the debt, because with Libra in your eighth house, you're balancing out a situation with your finances versus other people's money. So you're probably coming out of debt, and that can be energetically. Also, your self-esteem is going to rise up because you've got Aries, you got Chiron in your second house, you've got low self-esteem around finances, maybe that caused you to go in debt, or there's a fear-based issue around finances, your resources, other people's resources. So there's a balancing out of these two houses for you, Pisces. But the result is that you become more balanced, less wounded based in your earning, because you have that wounding in your second house, which is low self-esteem, insecurities around your income and your earnability, and your ability to what your true resources within you, God-given resource within you, is reliable, that will sustain you. So there's like an ending of a fear around your ability to self-sustain completely. And then we do have the eighth house Libra balancing out a debt or balancing out other people's resources. You could get, it's possible somebody passes when that eighth house is activated, and then you get a inheritance. But there is movement for Pisces in their financial houses there. Raising your self-esteem so that you are more abundant in your energy field around finances. So, and it also is Libra is in your eighth house. You could initiate a relationship that's very sexual, and it could be Aries. It could burn out quick, and be very passionate, hot and heavy, or it could be the true relationship that is here to take you forward, your soul base. I would lean more in that right now with the kind of energies that we have going on, but it could be a new person too. So yeah, Pisces, what else? You guys are ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in the sign of Aries. So Jupiter is in your second house. So a lot of initiation energy around income and how to earn money, fired up, inspired, and excited about new beginnings around your finances, inspired new financial beginnings that make you aware of your earning potential. That's something that you have, a resource that you have. Second house is your own resources. So Pisces will become confident and bold. And actually, I am a Pisces moon. I actually do feel that way because I got so many, I did 14 readings yesterday. It was like, whoa, it was a lot of readings, but I felt confident that people want readings, it's like, it was like, okay, this is a stabilized way for me. So plus, if you're Pisces, you've got Pluto, well, hang on a minute, what am I saying? You've got Pluto in your Capricorn in your 11th house. So issues around friendship groups, partnership groups. Mercury, where would Mercury be for Virgo? In your 7th house of relationships. So issues being resolved around friendships that were out of balance, or that were sorry, Pluto, friendship issues triggering around friendships that were based in fear-based attachment, clinging on relationships that aren't really good for you. You really see it. You'll really see. And then the right tribe group is coming back. And I can see this with my son. He has sort of gone off and made a bunch of friends. Like, he left his really best buddies and he kind of went off with his sort of wild group of people. And now I can see that all fell apart. And now he's kind of back with his best buddy. It's like they're working together. So it's kind of like a resolve of that journey of like finding what's your true friends, your true tribe that you can really trust. Pisces really need to trust who they're with. They're very vulnerable. They're very softy people. So their friends group, they're going to resolve what's out of balance in their friendship groups, but things are going to go direct for them in the 11th house. So the right friendship group will start to yield results for them in supporting them in this new beginning that they're initiating in their career. So it's all connected. It might be that you meet someone in the friendship group that helps you align more, and you may get into a partnership in your 2nd house that you then become more, what you bring to the partnership brings a lot of resources. So that enable things to go forward with this partnership. And you put all your money together with somebody, and then you launch a new project together that inspires a lot of abundance for you. So you could get into arguments and end friendships as well, and quit an old way of working. But this is so that you're in aligned with what is really Jupiter is trying to guide you in, with it being there in your 2nd house, with your real soul ability to earn your own soul's true resources, as it were, inherently given as you're born. And I can show you what that is in your chart if you want a session. That's what I do. Help you with your soul song. I like to help people find their soul song. Yeah.
Madelaine's awesome with that Jupiter.
So that is Pisces. And then really just a little bit to talk about with this next eclipse at 2 degrees Scorpio coming up on October 25th is very much connected to the last set of eclipses that were in and plus the nodes are in Taurus and Scorpio. So there's a very karmic releasing going on. So we're going to talk a lot more about karma. I didn't really talk about exactly how karma shows up because people don't really understand karma. People think it just means I did something bad and now I'm paying my bad dues. It really just means a repeat cycle we get into. We're in a trap of fear-based choice makings that don't do us good, that lean us, that send us the wrong way, and that we're repeating an outcome that isn't for our highest good or others' highest good. So it's the universe trying to help you align with your divine path, which is for everybody's highest good. So that's kind of basically it. So we're just clearing out some fear-based choice motives. Again, more.
The way I interpret karma, I mean, obviously I have a very intimate relationship with the concept and the idea of it, is thinking of karma as old fear. You think of karma, you come into this life with karma. Well, it's old fear based on an old story. Yeah. And so if you think of it that way and you have an understanding around what that story is, you can see how it plays out in your day-to-day life. And you use astrology for that. I do too, little, but mostly soul contract for that, where you literally can see the karma that you came into this life with, but you can also see the talents you came into this life with to help you move through the karma. Yeah. So it's a beautiful understanding that can happen, and healing. And to me, it's the transmutation of karma, which then the outcome is transformation. And you are taking a frequency that is a lower vibration and transforming it to a higher vibration. And you're not discounting the fear or making it wrong or bad. It's really just integrating it and recognizing that you have a choice to make the higher frequency choice or stay in the lower. Right. So it's, I think when you break it down with these easy to follow steps, if you will,
I
doesn't
know
mean
there's
it's easy, but
yeah,
it is easier to understand.
yes, and there are certain patterns you become familiar with it, and you wake up and you realize
Yes.
you're playing out a karmic story, and you're like, wow,
Yes.
I can't believe I'm still. So yeah, that's where it becomes clear that you can actually break that cycle, and it's fantastic. So
It is. It's
yeah.
so cool. So, yeah, I mean, just so much goodness today in our conversation, Madelaine. Super, super fun. So
Yeah,
if
thanks.
anyone's looking for support, all Madelaine's information and mine is below. So like she said, if you have Scorpio in your chart anywhere, definitely reach out to her.
And Taurus.
And Taurus, yeah, for some
Yeah.
support and some guidance. She can help you with that. Obviously, I have my own tools and spiritual sciences that I work with, but I think for everyone, recognizing that this full moon is an initiatory energy towards the clearing of the karmic patterns and wounding that will be kind of buttoned up here in this next eclipse. So
and it's really
perfect time for support.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's really initiating the new path in that house that Aries covers. That's your way forward in this new cycle. And cleaning out the backpack and the junk that doesn't supposed to come with you. And you got to let it go and throw it away because it's not helping on the journey anymore.
Oh,
so
yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel that.
Yes, everybody like and subscribe. Don't forget to like it. A lot of people come up to say, I loved your video. I liked it. And it's like, but I didn't see the like. But anyway, so like.
Yes, that really, that helps us. That helps us tremendously to get our work out there a little bit more and to share this goodness, that we take the time to present and gift to everyone. And it's, hopefully helpful to folks.
Apparently people actually said it's helpful. So that's such good news. That's what we want. Yay! That's the best awesome thing you can hear. Yeah.
That really is. I love that.
Yeah.
It's just so awesome. All right. Well, Madelaine,
Amalia,
thank you
thanks.
as always.
Hugs.
Yes.
Have a fabulous week. Good luck with these eclipses, everybody. Hang in there.
Yes, and we'll be back in 2 weeks to share more on that, and likely also offer some different supports that might be very gentle and comforting to help you navigate the energies. Yeah.
All right. So well, lots of love and take care, everybody.
All right. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot for joining us. Bye. Thanks.